Alright, show of hands. How many of you still remember I existed? Hello everyone, my name is October. This is my channel Nerd Boy Reads. If you're new around here, welcome. If not, welcome back. It's been a while, hasn't it? To be quite honest, a lot of things have happened in the last 3 months of 2022, so I wasn't able to post as regularly or record as regularly as I wanted to, but I'm back, hopefully. It is 2023, and I figured that this would be as good a time as any to post a new video and talk about my goals for this year, my reading goals, and my goals for this channel, and just, not general life goals. Like, those are something that I have to go through myself, but, just goals for my channel, goals for reading, bookish goals, I should say. So, we're gonna go ahead and do that. This is my first video back. I'm a bit rusty, so forgive me, but, yeah. I'm gonna go over my Goodreads reading goal, like how many books I plan on reading this year, some of my general overall reading goals, my bookish goals, and then the series and books that I'm hoping to read this year, and yeah, that's about it. First of all, my reading goal this year is 50 books. It is down from 80 from last year, but I did manage to reach that, but I lowered it down because I felt very stressed all the time when I set that goal that high. I did it, obviously. Congratulations to me, I did it. My last book was World War Z by Max Brooks. I may go over what I read last year. Who knows? I don't. We'll get there when we get there. But 50 books right now feels like a better goal, especially with all the other things that I want to do reading-wise. And having that lower goal where all I have to do is read one book a week allows me a lot more wiggle room to read more manga, read more graphic novels and comics that I didn't get to do last year because I felt that if I was reading, all I had to read was books, and it really stressed me out. Of course, I managed to fit in the stuff that I wanted to. Like, I've read a lot of Sandman graphic novels, and I read a lot of manga last year, but it was very stressful. It felt like I couldn't fully enjoy what I was reading unless it was a book because I was so stressed trying to meet that 80 book goal. So I lowered it down to allow myself the wiggle room that I needed to actually enjoy reading again, and it's a doable goal. Hopefully I can at least get a few past 50 if I time it right, but I do have some thicker books that I want to get through this year, so that may not be as flexible, but still I feel like 50 books is more reasonable considering what else I want to do with this channel and what else I want to do reading wise. Which brings us to goal number 2, or resolution number 2 or whatever. I want to diversify what I read, both book wise and manga wise. I'm looking at my shelves right now, and a lot of the things that I read manga-wise are like shonen and action and seinen and blood and gore and violence, which is great. It's what I love. It's who I am as a human being. But I really want to get into more shoujo titles. I want to get into more josei titles. I want to perchance get into some kid books? I don't know. But I do want to expand my horizons, see what else is out there beyond Shonen Jump and Viz Media. I want to get into more romance shoujo, slow burn stuff that I hear is part of the shoujo romance title because I live for that. And the fact that I haven't gotten into it is kind of a shame. And I just want to see what else is out there. Same for my books. A lot of the books that I read are by men, white men specifically, and that's fine, but I want to branch out more. I read a lot of horror, I read a lot of action, I read a lot of adventure, sci-fi, fantasy, but I want to get into more contemporary, potentially more classics, more mystery. I may touch a romance, maybe, I don't know. We'll see when we get there, but that's one of my resolutions, one of my goals. I want to diversify my reading. Another thing I want to do is I want to get into more middle grade books. I have a couple. I have somewhere around here the Halloween Moon by Joseph Fink, or is it Jeffrey Craner? It's one of them. One of the Night Vale people, and I picked it up because it was one of the Night Vale people. I also read the V.E. Schwab middle grade series, the Cassidy Blake series. Last year I finally finished the Lockwood & Co. series, and I started the Bartimaeus trilogy by Jonathan Stroud. But that's all the middle grade that I'm reading. And I've heard that there is so many more great middle grades out there that I just haven't touched. And when my friend and I were meandering about that section a couple days ago, I'm like, that title sounds interesting. That cover looks cool. I want to get into it. But part of me is kind of embarrassed because I am a full adult now reading middle grade. But then I realize, if it's fun, what's the problem? Reading is supposed to be about having fun, and if a lot of these middle grade series are about fun and stuff like that, the only thing that really gets me is the fact that they're so young. But again, it's for a younger audience. But as long as it's fun, what's the problem, right? That shouldn't be an issue. My final reading goal is to actually finish a lot of the series that I've started, and or not start as many series that I did in the past, which isn't a problem. People have a lot of series going on. Like, I'm not the only one who starts a bunch of series and then doesn't finish them for a long time. But it gives me a little bit of anxiety looking at all the stuff that I started that I haven't finished. Especially because the series are over, and the only thing that's stopping me is me, because I want to start more series, I want to read more things, but I still have all this stuff loitering in the background that is really easy to find and finish, and I just haven't done it yet. So I am going to finish a bunch of series. I know I said that I was going to do that last year, and I did. I finished 1, 2, 3, at least 3 series, I want to say. But in that same vein, the video that I made about all of my active series, I had about 15. So 1/5 of all of my active series isn't great statistic-wise. So I do want to finish a lot more series than I start this year. And to just say that I did it, even if I don't like it, even if I end up getting rid of some of the books, which looking at it, I'm pretty sure I am because of reasons I'll get into when I hit that series. But to just finish them, to finally say I did it, and then to potentially clear it off of my shelf if I didn't like it enough to keep it, would be a great relief to me. And it'll allow me the freedom to start more series and not feel that weight of, why are you starting another series when you have 7 more active ones to go, you know? So, yeah. The only goal I really have for this channel is to post consistently. Like, I had all these dreams for growth and stuff like that, and if that happens, it'll happen, and I'll be grateful if it does. To everyone who's already subscribed to me and who's following me, even though I took that like 3-month hiatus, I'm very appreciative of you, and I hope you stick around with me this year as I do try to post consistently every single week, at least once a week. I have these grand goals of posting 2-3 times a week, but with the way my life is going and the way I want to project my life and to just keep going and the track I want to be on, I'm not sure if that's going to be feasible to post more than once a week. So my goal is to just post once a week, either a manga video or a book video. I don't know which one right now, and I won't know which one until I'm plotting for the future, but yeah. Hopefully I can do this, and I'm gonna try to stick with it because I really enjoy making these videos. I really enjoy making content, and the fact that I just kind of stopped for that 3 months really kind of sucked because I wanted to record, I wanted to talk about the stuff that I was reading, and I didn't. So that's why I have all these books piled up, not shelved correctly yet, because I wanted to talk about them, my wrap-ups, my TBRs, and I just didn't because I didn't have the time, and stuff was going on that I really needed to focus on in my actual life beyond my bookish life. It also didn't help that I was really hyper fixed on One Piece, and I still kind of am really focused on the One Piece series again. I saw the movie Red 2 times in theaters, and I restarted the manga on the Shonen Jump app, and it's just taken up a lot of my brain space, even though I do not have the ability to talk about One Piece the way that I want to. I don't have that analysis brain for One Piece that I do with other things. So the fact that I only wanted to talk about One Piece, I only wanted to think about One Piece, it just kind of sucked for a while there. I mean, don't get me wrong, One Piece is great. I'm wearing a Zoro shirt because he is my husbando. But it really detracted from my ability to talk about other books because I just wanted to talk about One Piece. So, that's a thing. My last reading goal, which I completely forgot about until just now, is I am not going to make TBRs anymore. I'm going to be totally a mood reader because the things I realized about myself is that every time I try to make a TBR, like make a list of things that I have to read in a month, it didn't really work for me. It put me in a slump. I am not really one of those people who can have a set TBR to stick with it and to feel excited about the things that I have to read. It kind of feels like a required reading list for school, and it kind of slumped me out. So I'm just going to be a total mood reader for this year. Whatever I want to read, I'm going to pick it up. If I feel a certain genre, I'm going to stick with it. If I feel like reading manga a lot, I'm going to do that. I have enough flexibility in my reading goal to be able to do so. So I feel like this will help me read a lot more, and it will make reading a bit more fun for me because it's kind of started to feel like a chore just a little bit, especially when I set such a high reading goal and then TBRs that put me in a slump. It just didn't work out for me. So I'm going to be a total mood reader this year, and I'm excited about it. That's pretty much it for all of my goals. I'm pretty sure I had one or two that I'm forgetting, so if I did forget them, I'll add them in post and I'll put them in there. But now I want to talk about all the books that I'm really excited to read this year. I have been holding off mainly because I kept trying to stick things in the last half of 2022, but it just wouldn't work. I kind of fell into a slump. I had other things that I was reading. It just didn't work out the way I wanted it to. So this year, I'm going to be really focusing on the things that I'm really excited to read. And yeah. Alright, so one of the first things that I'm really excited to read this year is the entire rest of the Witcher series by Andrzej Sapkowski. This, I'm not going to hold up all of them because they are very heavy. I read the first two books, the collections of short stories, one a couple years ago, and then the second one last year, and now I can finally get into the series proper. I don't need to talk about this series any more than I already have. I've talked about it plenty of times in my other videos, but now I can finally delve into the series proper, and I may dedicate an entire month just to getting through it because there is 6 books in this series, and that's about average where I can get in a month anyway. So I may just put down the Witcher series for a month coming up, and I'm really excited to finally get to the series proper, the story proper. It was kind of hinted at in the Sword of Destiny, which is the second book of short stories. So now I actually get to see Geralt in his full assholeness and see what makes this world so great, even though I already know it. But I can finally grip it and experience it properly in the way it was supposed to. Next things that I'm really looking forward to are all of my Sherlock Holmes retellings, because these are in no particular order: The House of Silk by Anthony Horowitz, Sherlock Holmes and the Christmas Demon by James Lovegrave, Who Killed Sherlock Holmes by Paul Cornell, Sherlock Holmes and the Scroll of the Dead by David Stewart Davies, Sherlock Holmes of the Titanic Tragedy by William Seal, and Sherlock Holmes vs. Dracula by Lauren D. Estelman. I've said it numerous times across this channel that I have a lot of Sherlock Holmes retellings. I like reading Sherlock Holmes retellings, but that was kind of a fib. I like having Sherlock Holmes retellings. I haven't really read a lot of them. I've read the Charlotte Holmes series. Well, I read the first book in the Charlotte Holmes series, and then I dropped it really quickly because of reasons. And then I read the Warlock Holmes series, which spurred the love for Sherlock Holmes retelling. So now I'm finally going to actually get into the nitty-gritty of Sherlock Holmes retellings. And who knows, maybe I'll actually want to read the Sherlock Holmes series proper, especially because this year it went into the public domain, so I may be getting more Sherlock Holmes retellings, which is weird because I thought Sherlock Holmes was already a public domain character, but he wasn't. Either way, I love the retellings. I can't wait to see what comes out of this being in the public domain, and I can't wait to get more Sherlock Holmes retellings, so I'm excited. A duology I need to get to is This Savage Song by Victoria Schwab, aka V.E. Schwab. I only have the first one because I wanted to read the first one before I got the second one, which is Our Dark Duet. I'm going to read this year. I love V.E. Schwab's writing. She hasn't put out a book that disappointed me, except for her very first one, which is The Near Witch, which was her first book, and it read like a first book. So I'm going to read this. I'm reading her entire, newest works. I don't want to read like her first published works, no offense, but the middle grade series, not the first ever middle grade that she wrote, which is like a high school drama, middle school drama, whatever. I'm not really interested in that. But I've loved everything else that she put out, and the fact that I haven't read this is kind of weird to me. I haven't. I've had it for a long time. The pages are yellow because I've had it so long, and I just haven't read it. So I'm going to do that this year. I'm going to read Our Dark Duet. I'm going to get it. I'm going to probably plow through both of them because it's not that hard to find them, and I'm just going to do it this year. Next, I'm going to read The Iron Druid Chronicles by Kevin Hearn. I read the Ink and Sigil duology last year, and I really liked it. And spoiler alert, in the second book, we actually meet the Iron Druid from the titular Iron Druid series because Ink and Sigil is actually a spin-off of this. So I should probably read this, right? To see who he actually is, to see how he came to be. I really liked Ink and Sigil and Blood and Paper, so I don't have any doubts that I'm gonna like the Iron Druid Chronicles. I just have to get them. I do want to try to stop being the person who buys the entire series, i.e. like I did with The Witcher, and I want to try to pick them up slowly throughout the months. I believe this is only like a 4 or 5 book series, so I can get one a month and be fine. I just have to slow down and read them, and I'm really excited too because I really liked the Ink and Sigil series, and I really liked Atticus's character in the Ink and Sigil series, so I highly doubt that I'm going to not like the Iron Druid Chronicles. So yeah. Another thing I'm going to finish, I am going to get book 2 and 4 of the Jacoby series. It has been years since I read Jacoby. I've been looking for them used because it's a kind of old series. I may just have to bite the bullet and buy them on the internet. I've looked in every bookstore that I've ever come across in my travels throughout the country because I've been to, in the time that I read Jacoby, I've been to Nebraska at least twice. I went to Colorado. I've passed through several states on the way to get to both, and I still haven't found any of them. I haven't found book 2 or 4 except for in hardback, but I'm collecting them in paperback, which at this point I could have just collected them in hardback, because I found all of them in hardback and none of them in paperback. So I may just have to bite the bullet and buy them paperback online. But I am going to finish this series this year. I am determined. I really like it. Again, this may be another one of those series where I dedicate an entire month to reading them after I get them. So be on the lookout for the review of this because it's going to happen this year. Trust me. It is a literal shame that I haven't read this series yet, but this is going to be the year that I start the Gentleman Bastard series. This is The Lies of Locke Lamora, Red Sea Under Red Skies, and The Republic of Thieves, all by Scott Lynch. My friend graciously got me The Lies of Locke Lamora and The Republic of Thieves in these lovely hardcover naked paperback 10th anniversary editions for my birthday after we happened across Red Seas Under Red Skies in a secondhand shop. I've had these for months, but I wanted to finish some series before I started this one because I know in my heart that this is going to take over my entire life for a certain time period once I start them. But I'm going to do it this year. This may be the second book that I'm reading this year because I've already started another book. I have 2 books going on right now, so this may be the third one that I read. But I'm actually going to do it this year. I'm so excited. I read the first line of this book just to see what it's about and like if I'll like it, if it's as like binge-worthy as people make it out to be. And yes, it is. I'm excited to read it. I'm going to do it this year. I am going to like actually lose it if I don't. So be prepared for whatever comes out of this. It may put me in a slump because it may become like One Piece and become the only thing I want to think about and talk about. And it may make reading other things impossible, but I'm going to do it anyway. So look out for this. I'm very excited for it. One thing that I meant to finish last year that I actually didn't get to because I couldn't find it was the last book in the Vagrant series by Peter Newman. It's called The Seven, and I haven't been able to find it anywhere because they just don't sell it anymore, but I am going to track it down. I'm going to buy it online this year if I don't happen across it in a bookstore. But I'm going to finish it. I really love this series. I really love the found family aspects. I really enjoy how the two main characters are married, but they don't want to say it. And the second book took an interesting turn, and I'm really excited to looking forward to how the third book turns out, even though I've heard one negative review. But it's just, I don't hear a lot of people talking about it, and the person who recommended it to me is a dear friend of mine who makes really good book recommendations, and if she's worried about it, I'm kind of worried about it, but I do love this series, and the fact that I haven't finished it is a shame. And then sticking on the Peter Newman track, we have the Deathless series. This is a bit more easy to find. I've seen this in a bookstore that I frequent when I visit a friend, so it's not going to be too hard to find the last books in these series. I just have to read them, you know. I'm really excited to figuring out what this is about, because I haven't started it yet, obviously, and I'm going to. Alright, I'm kind of getting tired of talking, so we're just gonna blow through these last few. There's so many more books that I'm excited to read this year, but I am getting really tired of talking, so I'm just gonna blow through a selection of them. We have The Butchering Arts by Lindsay Fitzharris, Rabbits by Terry Miles, Project Hail Mary by Andy Weir. This one's I heard is getting an adaptation, and I've already read The Martian and Artemis, so the fact that I haven't read this one is a shame, but I am going to read it this year. I'm excited. It's kind of chunky, but that's not scary to me right now. Neverwhere, American Gods, and a collection of Sandman short stories by Neil Gaiman. The Murder of Mr. Wickham by Claudia Gray. The Traitor God and the God of Broken Things by Cameron Johnston. The Library of the Dead and Our Lady of Mysterious Ailments by T.L. Huchu. And Sense and Second Degree Murder by Tazara Price. Like I said, there are plenty more books that I'm probably going to end up picking up and I'm going to read, and I'm really excited about reading this year that I already have. But these are just a selection of some. I'm going to try to not buy as many books that I did last year this year, because I have picked up so many books since the last time I saw you, or the last time you saw me, and I just can't read all of them. I like buying books, I like owning books, but I like reading books more. And the fact that I buy all these books that I haven't read yet, but I also want to buy more books because good books sound like they're coming out, and it just puts me in the cycle of indecision, and I don't want to do that to myself. So I'm going to read. That's why I'm setting up all these books that I want to read, so I can just go through, pick some stuff that I really am looking forward to reading, and mood read, and hopefully I'll be cleared out a lot of these by the time I lift my book buying ban again in June for my birthday. I'm gonna lift my ban temporarily because I'm not gonna go as crazy like I did last year. But yeah, I'm not going to go through all the manga that I'm looking forward to reading because a lot of them haven't come out yet, and a lot of them are just kind of lingering. There are a lot of good series coming out that I really want to get, so I'm probably going to pick those up in the interim months. I'm going to allow myself one day a month to pick up manga because I read manga more and faster than I read books. So that's not that hard for me. Plus, their manga are sometimes noticeably smaller than books, but that's a whole other conversation. Yeah, I'll try to post more frequently. I'll see what I can do, and hopefully I'll see you next week with another video, or sometime more this week. I'll go over the top 10 books of last year, or just some of my favorites that I read last year, because I did read a lot of good books last year, and I'm not sure I can just narrow it down to 10, so I may just go over a highlight reel of the ones that I really enjoyed. So, until then, this has been the video. I've been October. This has been Nerdboy Reads. I hope you liked this video, and I hope to see you in the next one. Check me out on Instagram at Nerdboy Reads. I'll probably link it in the description. If not, just search me on Instagram, and I'll be there. That's it for this video. I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.